are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast. I'm Dylan. Are you on Twitter? Talk today list of Auburn athletics news, as Auburn is now up to 11 transferees or transfer ends. There we go. I think transferees means they've gone. But yeah, Auburn is now up to 11 guys coming to the Plains from the portal. And of course, what's going to be the main talking point of today's episode is, of course, Byrum Brown announcing his intentions to sign with the Auburn Tigers, if not already signed. I think he's already signed. Regardless, but a big-time pickup for Auburn, and I'll get to more on him in just a second. I do want to kind of shout out the guys who have announced they're coming back. I know Jacoby Ward and Joe Phillips both announced that. Shout out Jay Hardy, NFL Draft Declaration Edition on the list. And then also adding to the portal departure list is four-star offensive lineman from last year's class, Broderick Scholl. So with that, again, Byrum Brown going to the Plains, and of course, the number one option for Auburn from the get-go. I've heard upwards. There's been a lot of. It's been three to 4 mil is about where I've been seeing a lot of people talking about. But regardless, this was Golesh's guy. This has always been Golesh's guy. No matter what was happening during the offseason, no matter what was happening in the transfer portal cycle, Alex Golesh had his sights set on getting Byrum Brown to the Plains. And again, Byrum Brown is an absolutely phenomenal quarterback. 3,100 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions last year for the USF Bulls. And not to mention, led the team in rushing yards with 1,008 and putting 14 touchdowns on the ground as well. So, big-time player. 1 year of eligibility remaining for Mr. Brown. And I mean, this is a big-time pickup in every sense of the word. He's an X-factor quarterback, and I said this on the last installment, man. This is a dude who, loves Alex Golesh's offense and knows how to run it. Peyton Thorne was not a part of Hugh Freeze's offense, but when he got him after that cycle, and this is just something different. This is what a coach should be doing, is bringing guys in that he knows and he trusts to get it done. Auburn right now, again, tough schedule up ahead for the Tigers, and I would probably say betting odds are around 5.5. But with Byrum Brown, you put yourself into a win now mode. That way you're not wasting a year of eligibility for a guy that you fully trust to run your offense going forward. So what can he do? I mean, there's a little bit of everything. He can throw bombs down the field, as well as absolutely make magic happen in the backfield of the in the pocket. Sorry, I got a notification on my computer that threw me off guard. But dude, this is not the only USF player Auburn has added. We'll get more into Byrum Brown in just a second, but I do want to highlight the guys that have joined since last time. Of course, when we went live, Auburn had just gotten to 4, and they're now to 11. So we've had 7 additions since the live stream on Sunday. Of course, Corey Pettigrew was the last guy to enter or to sign with Auburn. Up next was the USF tight end Jonathan Eccles, who is an absolute beast of a human being, at 6'6", man. And Larry Scott has been on one as well. I'll go ahead and mention that he's gotten 2 tight ends during the cycle. Of course, one of those guys being a guy he coached at Howard, being Xavier Newsom, who didn't do a lot last year. He was a freshman. He was a 4-star edge rusher, went to Howard and played tight end, and absolutely, just so much talent just in him. And Larry Scott grabbing him and bringing him along. Of course, Jonathan Eccles saw a little more playing time. 109 yards was all he got up to, and 3 touchdowns. But again, this guy's a young guy. And again, both these guys are 6'6", which is absolutely massive for a pair of tight ends to be. Of course, joining up with Ryan G. Also picking up the running back from USF as well, Nakai Davenport, a big back who was second on the team in rushing yards for USF, 612 rushing yards to 7 touchdowns as well. So this is big time as for Auburn, needing a running back badly, losing Darrell Robinson and Damari Alston to the portal, and probably some guys' graduation that I'm not mentioning. But Jeremiah Cobb has not announced what his intentions are quite yet, but I think this would be a nice addition, giving a power back that can make things happen to add on to what Jeremiah Cobb can do as a more elusive back in that regard. So I find that to be a big pickup. Defensively, picking up Gavin Jenkins, a cornerback who was a freshman, didn't really get a lot of playing time, but did get some tackles, had 5 tackles. Was a very talented athlete coming out of high school, and again has a lot of years of eligibility ahead of him. So yeah, big time for that guy. Defensively, again, Fred Gaskin III, sophomore starter for this USF defense last year. 2 interceptions, 2 PBUs, a sack, and a forced fumble. It was also 6th on the team in tackles with 53. Absolutely talented safety. And again, a guy who I don't know is looked at as a starter, but I mean, you look at that room with Anquan Fegans and Eric Winters already there. I mean, dude, that's a very good pairing to add on to. So I'm super stoked for the safety room. I'm super stoked for the secondary. I want to see what DeMarcus Van Dyke and this whole defense staff can mold this group into. And then lastly, before we get right back into Byrum Brown, Jeremiah Koger announcing his intentions to transfer to the Auburn Tigers. Freshman wide receiver last season, 6'4", second on the team in receiving yards with 597, and was tied with Keyshawn Singleton, who had 8 touchdowns on the year, averaging 15.7 yards per catch. So this is big time for Auburn. And again, I see comments, and don't worry, I'm going to get to those. We talked about in the last episode about USF talent and what it means. Should it be something you are excited about? Should it be something you should be worried about? Again, when it comes to Alex Golesh, he was going to always get the guys that he knew he wanted and the guys he knew could run the offense that he wants. And again, you're going to let your guys do your recruiting. I mean, right now you have a long snapper from Miami, Ohio, and a Howard tight end. Those are your only 2 out of your 11 transfer ends that are not from the University of South Florida. But here's the thing. Alex Golesh, being a guy with a background in recruiting and understanding, what goes into scouting these guys and seeing what fits and can plug and play into his scheme, these are all the guys that he can do it with. I mean, we've watched this team at USF with, he's not going to pick up everybody. I don't think every single player from USF is transferring out and going to come to Auburn. But regardless, I mean, USF was a team that finished 9-4. I mean, they are a team that beat Florida on the road. They beat a ranked Boise State, and they went toe-to-toe with every single person that they lost to that same regard. But, man, it's not something I'm going to be, upset about with him bringing in USF guys, because again, it's something coaches do. Again, I always look, Kurt Signetti is going to always be the pinnacle of hiring a G5 coach, because what did he do at Indiana? He won immediately. And what did he win with? He won with I said the number wrong on the last episode when I said 11. 13 James Madison guys went to Indiana and started winning immediately. So he's going to get the guys that fit his culture, fit his scheme going forward. And again, Byrum Brown is right now, he's the best player Auburn has picked up in the portal. But believe me, there are guys who are going to be committing to Auburn because of Byrum Brown. That's just how good he is. I mean, 13th quarterback in college football history to throw for 3,000 yards while also rushing for 1,000 yards. And again, in the 2 full seasons that Byrum Brown has played, he has had 30,000 yards passing in both of those seasons, with 25 plus touchdowns at 26 in 2023 and 28 last year. And then rushing wise, he had 809 yards in 23 to 11 touchdowns to add on to his total. He's a phenomenal athlete, and you're getting guys that he's comfortable playing with. I mean, we talk about Jeremiah Coger, a freshman who balled out with him. Auburn is currently, I believe, on the front row seat to get Keyshawn Singleton and a few other wide receivers as well. And again, this offense does still need some love, man. The offensive line needs to be revamped. And again, you have some guys like Cale Ellis who you're probably going to walk into the season with the front runner for their position group. But there are a lot of positions of need on this offensive line. I mean, you have starting holes in the starting side of it, as well as a lot of depth piece missing. So you need to recruit some bigger guys. And again, there's guys from Ohio State who are going to be visiting Auburn on the O-line. I've seen predictions for Devin Bass, a offensive lineman out of Kansas State. Again, Auburn is heavily recruiting from everywhere. And it might seem that they're just recruiting from USF, but really what it is Auburn it's easier for Alex Golesh to bring in the guys that he knows can help make Auburn better from USF, and because there's that connection already. He understands who they are as a player, understands who they are as a person, and knows that they understand that they fit in his scheme. So again, I can see people getting upset about it. I can see people making fun of Auburn for it, but again, it's not something that I'm gonna freak out about. It's not something I'm going to I'm not going to come out in year one of a coach and start saying to fire him because Auburn lost a game because they got out-talented. And I don't think that's the case. I think USF has so much talent that it's worth mentioning. Again, this is a team that went 9-4. And I can't overstate that beat down of Florida. That score was closer than it was on the field. They beat the crap out of Florida. So, again, these are guys who Golesh trusts. And the best thing about being a fan of a team is trusting that your coach knows what he's doing. So, if you do that, I fully believe that Auburn will be in a better spot for it. So, with that, getting back to the Byrum Brown conversation, again, an athletic quarterback who the coach trusts. And, again, can do everything on the field. And you get him some more weapons. Again, you have Bryce King coming back. You have Sam Turner coming back. You have Jeremiah Coger. You have these two tight ends, Jonathan Eccles and Xavier Newsome, as well as Ryan G coming back. You got him a running back in Nakai Davenport. I would imagine you're either working on or you're just waiting for the graphic to go up for Jeremiah Cobb's return. You got some dudes coming that can raise the confidence of Byrum Brown. And right now, I think you still need a quarterback in the portal. Right now you're still a net loss from quarterbacks to additions, transfer wise. But again, it's not going to be hard for Auburn to get a backup quarterback or get another quarterback in this portal cycle. Again, unless Lachlan Hewlett is your guy you want to go into the season with as your number 2 guy, completely all for it. That's a guy that Golesh recruited himself, and see if he can develop him. If it's not like he's working out, then shoot, man, you can just go pick up another one the next year. But again, I would still imagine Auburn's going to get another quarterback in this cycle because you need that buffer between Lachlan Hewlett and Rise, or right behind him as a true freshman. So again, you're still getting another quarterback, and again, it's been a nightmare trying to figure out exactly what Deuce Knight is doing. I know everyone and their mother thought Deuce Knight was coming back 2 days ago, and it turns out they announced he's in the portal, which he was already in the portal. So you're still looking at another quarterback to get. But with Byrum Brown, I firmly believe that Auburn is a better team with him at quarterback than just picking up anybody that Alex Golesh would have to fully teach a scheme to over the course of a spring and a fall. So looking at that, if Auburn can continue to bring in the talent that they are currently projected to bring in, right now Auburn is as high as 8th on recruiting rankings for the transfer portal. I predict Auburn to finish first. And regardless of the fact that regardless of how you see, the USF talent, this is still a program that demands success, and you hired a guy who understands what it takes to win. And he brought in a quarterback who has been winning since he stepped foot on a college campus. Again, I think, this was always like written in the stars. As soon as Alex Golesh signed with Auburn, you already knew Byrum Brown was going to be following him. And again, I think Auburn is going to be a better team for it. I fully believe that the ceiling gets a little higher with him because he is a winner and he is a tough dude to tackle. And he's someone who's very tough to scheme for. I would probably put him down as the best dual threat quarterback in the country. And he's completely earned that praise just for how good he was for USF. When he played full seasons, 3,000 yards and almost 1,000. He was almost probably about to be the first quarterback to get 3,000 yards passing and 1,000 yards rushing twice, which is absolutely insane. And again, I don't know if he'll be doing that at Auburn. Again, he's going to be running the football. Believe me, he'll be running the football. And Golesh is going to have plays for him to run. But I don't know if the talent jump from the American schedule to the SEC schedule probably is going to mean there's going to be a little bit of a decrease in the amount of designed quarterback runs for Byrum Brown. But I still see him being a top option there. And you're giving him a lot of talent. Again, there's some wide receivers around college football that are from power programs that Auburn is currently projected or in the top 3 of, and a guy from Kansas State. And again, Auburn, I think right now, and you can have your own opinions about where Auburn is in the transfer portal world, picking up 9 USF guys. Auburn is attacking positions of need. And again, Auburn has a lot of guys on defense that are coming back and are freshmen last year, going to have that whole had the season to develop, having the spring to develop, and they're going to be ready to play. I don't know anyone who looked at Anquan Fegans and Eric Winters play as freshmen, and if you didn't know who they were, if you didn't know they were true freshmen, you probably didn't think they were freshmen at all when you watched them play because of the absolute quality of safeties that they are, dude. They were lights out in high school, and they were lights out when they stepped onto campus at Auburn. So there's a lot of talent to get excited for. And again, we don't have a full roster yet. We still have so many holes in this team. Again, it was right. If you look at on 3, it says you have 33 transfer outs to 11 transfer ins, which is it's not the numbers you want to see. But if you give him an O-line, again, and who knows the amount of money Auburn has waiting in an NIL, but if you can build him an O-line that can actually block, not like the O-lines that we've seen of the yesteryears where it's just been a amalgamation of a transfer portal mess where you have promised it to be a good O-line and everyone thinks it's going to be a good O-line, and that turns into the worst thing you've ever seen on tape. Xavier Chaplin and Mason, not Mason Perry. Is it Perry Mason? Perry Mason? I don't remember what his name was. I had to look it up. I don't remember what his name was. I don't remember what his name was. I said it wrong. But the Perry Lewis, the bust after bust in O lineman talent, man. If you can get guys who can actively play, I think I was getting Mason Murphy is who I was also thinking of. But yeah, if you can get him offensive linemen that aren't busts and guys you can develop over the course of an offseason. Again, Alex Golesh is, he has preached about the staff that he's brought in, about how good they are and how they're in sync with each other. Jake Thornton was a great recruiter, but when it came to coaching O-linemen, he was not that. So I'm excited to see what exactly Auburn can do with a sufficient O-line. And again, Auburn's not had a good O-line since 2017, in my opinion. It's just been just a diminishing return ever since then. So if you get Byrum Brown that, and I trust Durkin and his staff to get this defense ready to go. If you get him an O-line, I think Auburn can win 7 to 8 games. And is the bar still low? Yes. But I don't think anyone can be upset about a first-year coach after the mess of the 6 years that it's been for Auburn. If he walks in there and he gets you a winning record, regardless of what it looks like, if it's 7-6, if it's 7-5 regular season, and he loses the bowl game at 7-6, you can't be mad about that. Can't be mad about it. And that just proves that it is going to get better from there. And the new age of the transfer portal, the new age of college football is kind of shifting to where you can completely rebuild a team in the course of 2 weeks, which that's what he's doing. And again, he's telling guys if they're not fits for his team, if they're not fits for his scheme, he's told them to go. And he's going to get guys that he knows can run his scheme. And what we're watching is that shift in college football of coaches becoming the most important part of the team, because a good coach can turn a 3-star player into a 5-star caliber player. And here's the thing. That's what Golesh did with Byrum Brown. That's what he's doing with this talent. Whether or not Jeremiah Coger has a 3-star or not does not diminish the fact that he was the second leading receiver on this team with almost 600 yards and 8 touchdowns at 6'4". So I think that it gets to that point where you have to understand the talent is still getting developed. Jeremiah Coger was a freshman putting up those numbers. And Fred Gaskin's a sophomore putting up these numbers. Jonathan Eccles is a sophomore who just didn't get a lot of playing time. But guys that Golesh is talking to, Larry Scott for the tight end room, Cody Burns for the wide receiver room, like, hey, I know we're in the SEC. I know we're at Auburn. I know that the level of play is higher. And one thing I don't think people understand is Golesh is not a stranger to the SEC. It's his first time being a head coach in the SEC. But he's not a stranger to the SEC. He's been here before. He understands the talent that is needed. So he's getting guys that he understands can do that. And again, I have my Indiana hat right there. I'm gonna pull. I will pull Cignetti out of a hat every single time I can. If you think that 2 years ago or last year you thought Fernando Mendoza, who was a former 2-star recruit, who was just a student at Cal who just played football and would go do internships after practice and do all this stuff, and just was a big goofy nerd. If you thought he was going to win the Heisman, I don't know what you were thinking at the start of the season, unless you were just a gambling addict Indiana fan who just wanted to throw a quarterback up there. But Cignetti it's the mindset and the culture that he has built in Indiana, and he did it like that. And he did that with guys that he knows can do what he wants them to do. And that's exactly what Golesh is doing. And I feel like that's something I hate. I've always had to push, talk about, because I think so many people don't understand exactly where Golesh is coming from whenever that, because it's like, oh, well, he's only recruiting USF guys. So those are his guys he coached and recruited. So he understands who they are. And again, look at Golesh's background for that. He's a guy who knows how to win. He's a guy who knows how to develop talent. He's been doing that since he started coaching. And we're going to see one last season of Byrum Brown, and I guarantee you Auburn's going to have a dude ready to go right after him. And again, 7 wins is not a bust. 7 wins is not bad for Auburn to get. Again, I think there are going to be a lot of fans out there who are going to be upset that Auburn, isn't in the SEC championship category quite yet, but it's stepping stones. You've pushed yourself backwards for 6 seasons. You've been taking a step forward and 3 steps back for 3 years or for 6 years, and you've definitely been doing it the past 3 years, 2.5, mostly. So you have to see the stepping stones have to be placed, and he's building that up. And again, if he gets backups from USF and you probably aren't going to see them play at all. And you're going to be like, oh, well, this was a bust getting this guy from USF. Well, guess what? This is the guy he was already coaching, and he gets to continue to coach with better talent, and that player just gets that much better because they're developing with higher level of talent while they're still at a younger age. I mean, dude, Christian Neptune is a freshman, and you have guys like that who can, just get better over time. And Neptune was a very solid player for them. And he led the team in yards per catch with 20 catches. He averaged 20 yards a catch as a freshman. So again, something to not 20 yards a catch, not Christian Neptune. Who am I thinking? I'm Chaz Nimrod is who I'm thinking of, who Auburn is on pace to get. Auburn had 33 players leave for the portal, and you got some that are already found places to go. Caleb Wheatland, I think, went to the Big 12. I'm sorry if you could hear my dog in the background. You have Robert Woodyard going to Missouri. Perry Thompson went to Minnesota. Like, you have all these guys heading out because they weren't fits for what Golesh wanted to do, and he might have tried to get a lot of them to stay. But regardless, if they left, they left. And I think Auburn gets that much better for guys who want to buy in to what Golesh is doing than guys who just wanted to be bought into what On to Victory wanted them to do. So I am for Alex Golesh, and I am super stoked for what Byrum Brown is going to bring to the Tigers in 2026. And again, I am more excited for the Golesh hire than I was for the Hugh Freeze hire. And again, I speak back to the fact that with Hugh Freeze, the transfer portal has been around for a while now. But the thing is, when Hugh Freeze got hired, no Liberty guys, at least offensively, came with them. Some of the commits did. I know Hank Brown did, but no transfer outs from Liberty to Auburn. And I think Auburn was worse for it. You got Brian Harsin. I don't think any Boise State guys. I don't know if the portal wasn't as crazy as it was back then either, but no Boise State guys were trying to transfer to Auburn. So I think that speaks volumes that you have so many guys from USF wanting to make that step up with Golesh and continue to be coached by him because they know that not only will Auburn be better for it, but they'll be better for it as well. So always going to end up on that soapbox every time that I talk about Alex Golesh, because again, it's Auburn. This is the third G5 coach Auburn has hired in a row. Again, Harsin out of Boise and Hugh Freeze out of Liberty. Now Golesh out of USF. So again, it's a talking point that I can understand people like falling into and just kind of just being a part of just to be a part of it. But the thing is, Alex Golesh is such a energetic and knows what he wants to do, and he just has everything in his sights, and I don't see Alex Golesh being the guy who is just trying to do a bunch of PR stuff to get good looks. I mean, Auburn will probably get him to do a few of those things, but I think that what we're seeing is a culture shift. We're seeing that happen in real time, because he's sending guys out while also bringing guys who understand what he wants to do mentally in. And what that'll do is you have that offensively while having the Durkin guys defensively. And again, the offense has been a problem for 3 years now. It has been a problem for a hot minute. And Auburn has it feels like they've been complacent with coaches that they perceive as winners. And I think Hugh Freeze was strictly hired because he beat Alabama twice a decade ago at this point, but didn't have a real plan for what he wanted to do at Auburn. He had a timeline of what he wanted to do, but I don't think he had a plan for what he wanted to do. And again, I don't even want to think about the Brian Harsin days too much because it's a lot of pain as well. But again, that I've watched that Golesh press conference so many times. And I have never had a coach for a team that I root for go up there and have a distinct plan of what he wants to do. And while he's saying it, I have the confidence that he's able to do it. I mean, I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. Matt Rule tried to say something about needed 7 years. But the what he was doing was not going to imply that he needed 7 years to do that. So I strictly believe that 7 wins is perfectly fine with Auburn. It should be perfectly fine with Auburn fans. I'm telling you right now, if Auburn goes 6-6 and we go to the Birmingham Bowl, which I'll be at, and Auburn wins the Birmingham Bowl and they finish 7-6 with a postseason win, you know how excited you should be for that? Auburn has not won a bowl game since 2018. 2018. Jarrett Stidham was the quarterback. I was a freshman in college. I'm now a few years out of college and have a master's degree. It's been that long since Auburn has won a bowl game. So 7-6 with a bowl win, you won't catch me batting an eye over it. And you won't catch me batting an eye if Auburn goes 7-5 and loses the bowl game. Because guess what? Auburn went to a bowl game for the first time since 2021 or 22. 2022. It's been that long since Auburn has been that relevant in all in the postseason. And again, they were invited a couple of times. Getting a 5-7 record, you get invited, but it's not being bowl eligible. It's just this 6-6 team didn't want to do it, or there wasn't enough bowl eligible teams, and you were just the best of the worst to get it. So I strictly believe that if more fans can get behind what Alex Golesh is doing, I think Auburn will be much better than you will perceive them to be. Again, I think Byrum Brown, regardless, is going to get drafted next year. I think he has proved himself. He just needed another year putting himself on the big stage or a bigger stage. And again, it's money in his pocket. Again, I don't know what the if there's an incentive-based contract or if it was just a signing contract like that. I'm not sure exactly what the numbers are. I would love to have that in front of me. Because I think it'd be very, very interesting. I always love I'm trying to get a better feel for exactly what is going on behind the scenes with this new NIL era and the new transfer portal era that's going on. But I've seen numbers thrown around. But what you're doing is you're securing a quarterback who can help you recruit other talent. Again, there are graphics up there posted by not USF. There's graphics posted by Auburn now. There's graphics posted by ESPN, by other college football things that these transfers are going to see. That a quarterback out of USF, regardless, that's now at Auburn, just became the 13th quarterback in college football history to throw for 3,000 and rush for 1,000. And here's the thing about it: he didn't just throw He didn't throw 3,000. He didn't have 3 1,000-yard receivers. He shared that thing. The rock was passed around at USF. There were guys all over the place getting. You had a guy with 600 yards. You had a guy with 800 yards. You had a guy with 400 yards. You had a guy with 350. Like you had the rock is getting shared around. That's the number. 877, 600, 500, 466, 335. You had tight end with 176. You had a wide receiver 150. Like you had to get way down the list for a guy didn't get 100 yards, and you have to get way down the list before you even get to a guy who didn't come close to getting 10 catches in a season. So he shares the ball, and this is Golesh's offense working through Byrum Brown. If that scheme can work at Auburn, you're going to have guys committing to Auburn. If they have years of eligibility and they ball out like this soon, rather than later. I mean, we're looking at guys like Corey Pettigrew and Christian Neptune, who are freshmen. Jeremiah Coger, who's a freshman. And if you don't trust the USF talent at wide receiver coming in, then I don't think you fully trust what Cody Burns can do, a wide receiver coach, who's one of the top up-and-coming coaches in the country. And again, we've talked about this several occasions about former Auburn alumni coaches that are on the next line of being head coaches in the sport. Cody Burns is the top of that list. So Auburn is going to be fine going forward. I think more people should have more faith in Alex Golesh because of who he is, where he's come from, and again, his resume speaks for itself. Let him recruit his guys and then see what he can do. Again, it's not all USF guys that are going to be coming in. I don't believe it in the slightest that Auburn is only going to be picking USF guys. It's just the starting point to get you a basis and to help build your roster going forward. 33 players left Auburn. 33 players are currently, or 36. 36 players are now in the portal. So you have to get guys to kind of even that out. You didn't get 33 recruits in the high school cycle because you fired a coach in the middle of that. So, and again, the right decision to make. But you have to build up your roster step by step. You have to do it year by year. And I trust Golesh can do it. So Byrum Brown is a absolute dog. I'm not going to get crazy and say put him in the Heisman conversation, but he's a guy. If he did this at any other school at the Power 4 level, he would be in the Heisman conversation for those numbers. And this is every single person that saw the news come up about him signing with Auburn should be ecstatic about what this can mean for Auburn's offense going forward for this year. And you have some home games and if you can take advantage of some guys who are also in rebuilding stages. I mean, Florida is going to be in a rebuilding stage. Don't know what Ole Miss looks like going in the next year. Just have to see what the end of their playoff run looks like. And again, don't know what Baylor's going to look like either. They're getting kind of torn up in the portal as well. So trust Auburn, trust Alex Golesh. It's the best thing you can possibly do. If you're an Auburn fan, again, I understand the heartbreak. I've been an Auburn fan since I was 4 in 2004. That's the last time that's the first time I was ever conscious to what Auburn was. As I'm 4 years old, my earliest memory I have. I've been to the heartbreak. I was there I was 7 years old for the Tommy Tuberville debacle. I was there for Gene Chizik winning a championship and then turning into the worst coach ever. I was there for the Gus Malzahn reunion. I was there for Gus Malzahn growing stale over the years and understanding, maybe Auburn fired him too soon, but I understand why they would do it. I was there when Auburn hired Brian Harsin, and I was also with everybody whenever I was Googling who Brian Harsin was because I had no idea who this guy was. And again, it's something that you have to understand is like trusting a coach is hard, but you need to be able to, for a first year at least, put some faith in Alex Golesh, and you'll be better for it. Get better. Auburn made the right hire with this one. I fully believe it. I don't have a lot of money, but I put a couple dollars on it that this is a great hire for Auburn. Again, if you don't like Tennessee fans, that's okay. But when it came to Arkansas hiring Alex Golesh, there was a lot of comments from Tennessee fans saying that this was a home run hire. Now, it shifts whenever it goes to Auburn because Tennessee hates Auburn, but they understood that Alex Golesh was next up. I mean, Josh Heupel gave his keys to his offense to Alex Golesh, and they've not been the same offensively since he left. That's simple and easy as that. So I think that everyone should understand where Golesh is coming from whenever he's picking up these USF guys, because it's how you build your roster, is how you build that culture, is how you build the mindset of your team. Because you can't have a bunch of guys who are just in it for the money. I can go ahead and tell you, Indiana probably has a lot of deep pockets, but I can't tell you how many people, a bunch of 3-stars at Indiana are winning games. And I don't imagine they're just recruiting 3-stars because they want the money that Indiana can offer them. Kirk Cignetti is not recruiting. He's going to start bringing in 4 and 5 stars as the years progress because he's going to keep winning games because the mindset's there. I mean, I've mentioned this before. I mean, when it comes to Nick Saban disciples, Kirby Smart is the closest in terms of just winning. But when it comes to the mindset of coaching, Kurt Signetti is a daggum twin of Nick Saban. Just him on the sideline, his mannerisms. And I mean, Golesh understands has mannerisms as well that mimic very good coaches. Again, and the energy on the sideline is there. So put some trust in Alex Golesh, and believe me, Auburn will be better for it. You'll be better for it. It'll help out a lot. And Auburn has some it's a difficult schedule for the most part, but there are some winnable games that Auburn can make some noise in. Again, depending on how this transfer portal cycle goes, depending on how the spring goes, depending on how the summer goes, a lot of those potential losses going into next year could be 50-50s. Again, it sucks you have the Georgia and Alabama on the road in the same year yet again. I wish they would absolutely change that, but regardless, this season is going to be extremely tough. But I think it'll work out. Again, I'm sitting at 6-6 as my prediction for next year. I think Byrum Brown does raise the chances of what Auburn can do, and I'm not going to go exponentially higher than that. My ceiling right now for Auburn would be 8-4. My floor would be 5-7 again, but I'm sitting on 6-6 right now for Auburn. If the portal continues to be as successful as it has been right now, again, check the rankings. Auburn is highly ranked, just based off the talent they're bringing in. I think 24/7 has the 8th, which it's simple as that. So with that, let me just do the comment section below. What are your thoughts on the addition of Byrum Brown to the Auburn Tigers? Again, 13th quarterback in the college football history to throw for 3,000 yards and to rush for 1,000 yards, was responsible for 42 touchdowns for the Tigers, or for the Bulls last season. And if Auburn get him an O-line, who knows what can happen. So let me just do the comments below. What are your thoughts on Byrum Brown? We're going to quick little break. Outside the break, we'll talk about Auburn basketball because they take on the Texas A&M Aggies tonight. So stay tuned. We're going to be right back.
Are you tired of having to rummage through just clothes after clothes after clothes looking for something to wear? Are you tired of your friends making fun of you for your terrible fashion sense? Well, do we have the shirt for you? Go to thewarreport.com, get your laptop out and do it right now. Go to the shop and get your very own Feelin' Loopy t-shirt as well as your college loop hat, and you can get both of them for only $25 each. Plus shipping and handling, of course. But with that, now back to your regular scheduled program.
Let's get that merch on thewarreport.com. Go to the shop and get that today. What you can also do is support the channel right here on YouTube by liking the video, commenting on the video, let me know what you think about your thoughts on Byrum Brown. And, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us get to our next big milestone of the year, which is going to be 2,000 subscribers. Hoping to reach that by the end of 2026. So, Auburn basketball, following a tough overtime loss to the Georgia Bulldogs in just a heartbreaking fashion. Kevin Overton shoots a game-winning bucket to send them there, and then Auburn just kind of falls apart in OT because they can't hit free throws. Now tonight they're back in action with a 9-5 record, taking on the Texas A&M Aggies, who are on a win streak right now. But Auburn being at home is a whole other beast of, I think, lack of a better term. Auburn's currently projected to win this game. Per ESPN FBI. Texas A&M just beat LSU, and it was sort of been a missed 3-point attempt to send them to OT. But what Auburn can do in this one is just find a way to play defense, dude. That was the worst part about the Georgia loss was, Auburn can score with anybody. This team has proved that it can score with anybody in the nation. Which minus a couple of teams that are probably going to be playing for the national title this year. But when I look at it, if Auburn can, shut down what Texas A&M does with their offense, they've been putting up a lot of points too. This game could end up being 120 to 130. It could be somewhere in that ballpark. I mean, take the over on the points on this one. If Auburn can find a way to lock down Texas A&M's offense and get some stops, it'll do numbers for him. I mean, losing to Todd Pettiford being like fouling out in the middle of the Georgia game was big time. What he offers defensively is just next level. He also lost Jovic in the middle of that Georgia game, and he was having a pretty good defensive game as well as getting a lot of good rebounds for Auburn as well. But I mean, Texas A&M again, they're a very, very good team who is going to light it up. I mean, they have guys averaging 13 and 8. That they're just the SEC is good. They're not the best conference in college basketball right now, but they are for sure it's a very good conference. And I mean, they have 5 guys averaging double-digit points. One guy outside of that is averaging 9.30. Out of that, 4 out of their top 6 scorers, or correction, 5 out of their top 7 scorers are shooting 30% or more from the three-point line. And if Auburn can find a way to, kind of lock that down a little bit and take better shots, I mean, I think Keyshawn Murphy played a great game, where he had to play the center for the majority of it. And Auburn has to find a way to play small ball whenever Murph needs a break. So if Auburn can continue to do that, I think it'll help out. I'm going to pick Auburn to win the game. It's hard for me to ever pick Auburn to lose at home in the jungle in a basketball game. As someone who has been a part of the jungle during my time at Auburn, it's just next level. The environment's going to be massive. It's going to be big time, and I think Auburn is going to come out and get a win at home. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I thought it was going to be a little bit of a low-scoring game against Georgia, because I thought both teams were just going to have an off night, I guess, offensively. So I picked it 60. I picked in the 60s. This game is going to finish. Someone's going to score 100 in this one. I fully believe it. I think it's going to be in the 90s more than likely. I feel like Auburn wins 90. I'll say 94-90 in Auburn's favor. It's going to be high scoring, which every time I take a high scoring game, it ends up being low scoring. Every time I do the opposite, it'll be the opposite. But I mean, these teams know how to score. And if Auburn can get some stops, which is what they couldn't do versus Georgia, I think that bodes well for them going forward. So I'll read some of y'all's comments. Let me know what you think. Comments below. Do you pick Auburn to beat Texas A&M tonight at home? Of course, this game, I've missed over the time, starts in just an hour and 12 minutes as we're currently recording. That's at 8 o'clock p.m. Again, Auburn 6-point favorite in that. So going through y'all's comments a little bit. War Eagle to everybody, as I said it. I'm a little worried we're not getting any outside recruits of USF. I kind of touched on that a little bit. Byrum Brown is attending the basketball game tonight. So, yeah, that's big time. I'm good with everyone they brought in so far now. If they start getting O-line, D-line from USF, then I have some questions, but that's not what's happening, though. There might be a couple that I've seen name-wise, but, I mean, there's been at least, 4 or 5 O-linemen I've kind of seen that are, heavy on the Auburn side, especially, I mean, Devin Bass from Kansas State, I think, is the heaviest lean towards Auburn. But there are a lot of other guys that I expect to see from very, very soon. Just saying he was eating in Auburn with an important person. I don't want DK back. Being honest, he plays too many games. I'd love to get DK back. I mean, if Deuce Knight came back, I'd be all for it. If he doesn't, I wish him best of luck. It's simple as that. I wish the best of luck to everybody in the portal. I would love to get anybody back. I mean, Cam Coleman, be awesome to bring him back if he could. We need to get some O-line and D-line, though. Absolutely agree. I just saw where Scholl is leaving, too. Is that true? Yes, Broderick Scholl is the latest entry from Auburn to the transfer portal. That's what I'm saying. Culture shit. Okay, so all stuff I was saying, and then an argument down here at the bottom that I'm not going to read through. But yeah, kind of just summing up everything. I think that Auburn becomes a much better team if they can build an offensive line for Byrum Brown. I think he is the best quarterback for Auburn. In the portal, I think he was always seen as the best quarterback going into the season for Auburn. And I don't think anyone can attest can like go against that. It's the guy who understands exactly what Golesh wants to do. It's his quarterback. It's the guy he's developed since he's been there at USF. A guy who is a winner in all sense of the words. So Byrum Brown raises the ceiling for Auburn. That is a factual statement. Again, 6-6 is my prediction, and I'll be throwing a party for 7-5, which I the sentiment a lot of people probably hold, but probably won't publicly say on air like I will. But yeah, I transportal is still going on. I think there's still. I've been saying 10-day cycle for a long time, and no one has ever corrected me. But it actually ends next Friday. So, I mean, there's still 10 days left for Auburn to pick up a lot of very talented O-linemen and just getting, as y'all are saying it, players from other schools. So I do imagine Auburn is going to be in the mix for a lot of the top guys, especially the top O-line talent, because you have to do so much at that position. And I've seen Ohio State. Ohio State lost a starting O-lineman, and I think he's already on scheduled a visit to Auburn. At least is what I've just been kind of reading around on. So you're going to get O-linemen. And you have a bunch of guys that you've recruited and you've brought in that you can also see where they stand as well. So again, I'm behind Golesh. I fully trust Golesh as the right guy. And again, he was always my pick going forward. So we're going to ahead and get out of here. I want to thank everyone tuning in to the College League Podcast. Thank you to everyone who has been commenting on the stream. Before we get out of here, I just want to let everybody know you should like, comment, subscribe on the video. Don't forget to Don't forget to follow us on social media as well on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, the works. All those at the College Loop. We've been covering all of the transfer portal guys on the social media platforms. Make sure you're following those because the show is every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So if we have a transfer happen tomorrow, we won't have a show tomorrow for it. We'll have to talk about it on the Thursday edition of the College Loop. And it's same old. If we had a guy on Monday, we missed it on Sunday, we'll talk about it today on Tuesdays. So make sure you follow the social media platforms to get the latest updates surrounding Auburn athletics. And, of course, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us get to our next milestone of 2,000 subscribers. You can find me on Instagram as well at Dylan Larck. Find me on Twitter as well at your boy the Tank. Follow me on there for all of my sports takes and whatnot as well. Well, that being said, thanks for tuning in to the College League Podcast. And don't forget, and as always, War Eagle.